Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com, and it is time for a dogfight. In one corner we have the Nokia Lumia 710, and in the other corner we have the Samsung Focus S. These are two popular Windows Phone devices, and they're both GSM phones, so you can buy them unlocked, or you can buy them with a contract on either T-Mobile or AT&T. Now the question is, which one is better? You know, the Lumia 710 has kind of been touted as this mid-range Windows Phone device, and then the Focus S is the high-end device. But really, when you compare their spec sheet, they're very similar in a lot of ways. But you want to know which one is better. Which one should you go for? Well, that's what we're going to find out in this dogfight. Before we get started with that, I have to say a special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile. We thank them because they send us the phones that we add to our One Paw Bandit game, and that's the game where you guys can win free phones. So one of the great things about Best Buy Mobile is that they sell phones from every major US carrier. So even though these two phones are on two different carriers, when you go to Best Buy Mobile, you can compare both of them side by side. So thank you, Best Buy Mobile, for being so awesome. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's a dogfight between the Lumia 710 and the Samsung Focus S. I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com. Let's get started. So we'll start off by taking a look at the hardware, and then we'll get into some software. Obviously, you can see there's quite a bit of a size difference between the two devices. Obviously, the display, you have different sizes here. So the Focus S has a 4.3-inch display, and this is actually a Super AMOLED Plus display. It has a resolution of 480 by 800, so a pixel density of 217, which isn't extremely high, extremely dense, but still, the Super AMOLED Plus display is just absolutely beautiful. And we say this every time in a video, but the camera doesn't really do it justice. The colors are very rich, very saturated, and overall it has a clarity that's it's beautiful. It's definitely a gorgeous display, so it's nice to have that Super AMOLED Plus display. Now on the other hand, the Lumia 710 has kind of a smaller display. It's a 3.7-inch display here, and then it has a resolution of 480 by 800. So same resolution, but because it's a smaller display, you have a higher pixel density, so 252 pixels per inch. On top of that, this display also has clear black technology, which means that the blacks are very black, they're very dark, and you're going to notice as we go throughout the video, that is if it translates well on the camera, you're going to notice that colors are more realistic to their true color, where Super AMOLED Plus really saturates them very well, but they're not true to their original color. It's more kind of an oversaturated version. Personally, I love the Super AMOLED Plus display, but if you want something that's a little more realistic, then the clear black technology is great. So again, 3.7 inches to 4.3 inches. That's personal preference. Where you're going to notice it the most is really with text messaging. We'll go to a thread here. Let's send a message to the Phantom, and then we'll go here. So you're really going to notice it with text messaging. Obviously the keyboard is going to be much larger on the 4.3-inch display compared to a 3.7-inch display. That's really going to depend on the size of your hands and your thumbs and whatever you're really comfortable with. So we'll type out the quick brown fox. Sorry if you can hear all that noise outside. I think the garbage truck just came. The quick brown fox likes this keyboard a lot. So you can see very few errors. I did have to fix that when I originally typed it, but Windows Phone keyboard is excellent. I've used this as I've used a Windows Phone as my personal device, and it has an excellent keyboard. I can easily type quickly and have little to no problems. And you can see even with a small display, very few problems there. Now again, obviously having a larger display, it's going to be a lot easier. However, one thing that I've noticed with the Focus S, and I'm not sure if it's maybe a glitch or something with this particular handset, particular device, but the keyboard lags, and that's something that I've never noticed in a Windows Phone device. I've used several. The keyboard is always very smooth. You can see transitions are smooth. Very few problems. So overall processor performance is great. Of course, now it's going to lag. But for some reason on this keyboard, it lags. So we'll type out quick brown fox doesn't like this keyboard. So as you can see, it lags. It would just, you know, kind of lag for maybe just a half second and then quickly type out those letters that it missed. I'm not entirely sure why it does that. It does affect the typing experience a little bit because, you know, when it does lag, you're not sure, okay, did it catch that letter? Do I need to wait and see if it caught it? It is kind of a little irritating. Again, like I said, you know, it may just be this particular phone. I haven't noticed with any other Windows Phone device, but that's kind of a little irritating with the Focus S. But again, you do have the benefit of having a larger keyboard. So, you know, a little more on hardware. Below the display here you can see the typical Windows Phone buttons. On the Focus S you have capacitive buttons. On the Lumia 710 they are physical buttons, so you can see you actually have to press them. The Focus S is also much thinner. If we go to the side profile view here, you can see the Lumia is a pretty thick device. It's 0.5 inches thick, which, you know, isn't incredibly thick, but you know, I've seen smartphones with a physical keyboard that are that thick. So for a phone that doesn't have a physical keyboard, it is, you know, slightly chunky, but again, it's still comfortable in the hand. You can see it kind of has a curved back there, so it's still comfortable to hold. But you know, compared to the Focus S, which is 0.33 inches thick, it's just much thinner, has a much more sleek profile, very comfortable to hold in the hands. Both of them have, you know, very nice and elegant hardware designs. Nokia has a great history of having just great hardware. Samsung also has some sleek looking hardware. Obviously, you know, they tend to use more plastic, but if that doesn't bother you, overall great designs for both phones, but you know, the Samsung Focus S is much thinner. In terms of physical buttons, pretty much the same. The volume rocker buttons are on different sides. On the Lumia it's on the right side, on the Focus S it's on the left side, and then the camera button is on the right side, which is mandatory for all Windows Phone devices. Then you have the power button right here, and then on the top we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, power button, and then the 3.5mm headphone jack on the Focus S, and then the micro USB port is on the bottom, whereas it's on the top. So kind of some, you know, some slight differences there, but overall, you know, hardware, I think just having a slimmer profile is definitely nice with the Focus S. Now we'll talk a little bit about some software here. Obviously, you know, they both ship with Windows Phone 7.5, known as Mango. You know, that version came with, I think, about 500 or over 500 new features that brought to Windows Phone. So you get all of those great additions, multitasking, and a couple of other things. Well, actually, you know, several other things, obviously, because it's over 500 new features. But both of these phones also come with some specialized software that you can only get with each phone and not with other phones, unless, of course, in the case of the Samsung Focus S, this will come with all Samsung devices. So, but anyway, you know, they do each come with their own kind of specialized software outside of Windows Phone. So we'll start with the Focus S, and you can see here we have this daily briefing app. So if I select that, since Microsoft doesn't allow for custom skins over Windows Phone, you'll notice that a lot of manufacturers include this little hub. You know, you have HTC Hub, you have this daily briefing with Samsung devices, and it's basically a way for them to add their own customizations, you know, without being allowed to add a custom skin. So you have weather, you can scroll over and see news, you can see I have selected to see technology news, stocks, and then you can add currency, top tweets, and change some settings. And then, like you saw, the live tile has the weather and it will automatically update. However, the Lumia does have some specialized software. You can see here this ESPN app. Now, in the Windows Phone marketplace, there is an ESPN app available. It's ESPN Score Center. You probably use it on, you know, an Android device or iOS. You can see it has scores, news, standings. Now, you've probably seen that app before, but this is a specialized ESPN app that still gives, you know, news and scores, but it also has HD video available. So that's kind of special to the Lumia 710. You also have Nokia Drive and Nokia Maps. Now, Nokia Maps is, you know, not too big of a deal because you have Bing Maps, which is a great maps application, but Nokia Drive adds turn-by-turn navigation, which Windows Phone doesn't really have it. It partially has it, and it will give you directions whenever you ask for it. But in terms of turn-by-turn navigation, where it will speak the directions to you, it's not quite fully developed yet. So with Nokia Drive, you get that. It's a free app. You don't have to pay for it. So again, that's something that you don't have with the Focus S. A quick note about memory here. Both of them have 8 GB of internal storage. Windows Phone currently does not allow for external micro SD cards, and so the 8 gigs of internal memory is what you get. Now, they do both come with some pre-installed software. You can see here some AT&T apps, and then with the 710 you have things like Netflix and a couple of T-Mobile apps here. As with all Windows Phone devices, you can easily uninstall these. Just do a long press and you can uninstall it. So if you're worried about them taking up the memory, you can easily uninstall anything that comes with the phone. But memory is the same for both of them. It's 8 gigabytes.